Good morning, children. How are you all, my dear cadets? Very good. So, today we'll do the lesson Bepin Chaudhury's Lapse of Memory from the Honeydew book. Are you ready, children? Okay, so let's begin. Bepin Chaudhury's Lapse of Memory, the introduction first. Okay, children, so let's begin. Bepin Chaudhury's Lapse of Memory, written by Satyajit Ray. It takes you through the journey of a man named Bepin Babu, who is faced with a very unique problem where he has lost his memory of one and only incident from the year 58 when he had a trip to Ranchi with his friend. Everyone except him recalls about his trip to Ranchi. As the story unfolds, he discovers that it was a punishment from an old friend of his named Chunilal, whom he did not help in his trying times. So, that's the introduction. Bepin Chaudhury, popularly known as Bepin Babu, went to Kali Charan's every Monday after what? After work. To stock up on his books to last a week. He used to go to that particular shop, Kali Charan's, to buy storybooks, He lived alone and did not have many close friends and was not fond of idle talk, gossiping as we call it. One such Monday, he was at Kali Charan's looking for his books. So it was a Monday and he was at Kali Charan's and he was looking for his books. A man named Parimal Ghosh addressed him as if he knew Bepin Babu. Bepin Babu did not recognize him. The man claimed to have seen Bepin Babu in 1958 when Bepin Babu visited Ranchi. But Bepin Babu had never been to Ranchi. That's what he said. Despite wanting to visit the place, he had not been able to do it. So he told the man that he had been mistaken. But the man knew quite a lot of details about Bepin Babu and did not stop talking. Bepin Babu left the shop and went on a drive alongside Ganga. He was a hard-working man who had a responsible job at a big firm. So he was working at a big firm. Who? Bepin Babu. It was hard for him to believe that he could not remember such an important event of his life, and that too from 6 to 7 years ago. He did not want to think about what the man said. So that did not bother him much, Okay. So he did not want to think about that. He thought of visiting his friend Dinesh Mukherjee, who the man said was there on the trip with him. But he did not visit him because he did not want to feel any embarrassment face to face. According to Bepin Babu, he was attending the pujas in Kanpur and stayed at his friend Haridas's residence. He thought of confirming with him, but remembered that he had moved to Japan and he did not have his new address, so he could not contact him. He was finally calmed after dinner when he snuggled in bed with his new book. He had the habit of reading books. It was only the next day in office. So it was only the next day in office before lunch that he thought of clearing this on call with Dinesh Mukherjee. Dinesh also told him that they both went on a trip to Ranchi in the October of 1958. Bipin Babu got more worried because he was not able to remember this particular incident. On that very evening, an old friend of his named Chunilal visited him. Bipin Babu knew that he had come to ask for help for a job for which Bipin Babu had told him that there was very little hope for. He told his servant to send him away, but he suddenly realized that he could ask Chunilal about his trip. So at first he thought of sending him away, but then he thought it would be better to ask him about what? About the trip to Ranchi. Bipin Babu accepted that he had been working too hard and decided to see a doctor. Chunilal also claimed, isn't it, to have booked his tickets for Ranchi. So then he thought something was very wrong. He must see a doctor. He visits a physician, Dr. Chanda, and his case was out of his area of experience and expertise. Still, he suggested that he visit Ranchi once again. So what did he advise him? What did the doctor advise Bipin Babu? He told him that he must visit that place once again. Okay, so Bipin Babu booked a first-class ticket to Ranchi. As soon as he stepped out of the train, he realized that he had never been to this place. When he went to visit Hudru Falls, he was found unconscious by two Gujarati gentlemen who had come to picnic with a group. On waking up, Bipin Chaudhury realized that there was no hope left for him and he came back to Calcutta. Upon reaching home, he receives a letter from Chunilal elaborating on how Chunilal plotted the entire punishment for Bipin Babu for unfeeling towards an old friend when he was out of luck. So it was all planned by Chunilal, because when he was going through bad times, Bipin Babu did not help him. So when the doctor visits him, Bipin Babu tells him that all is fine with his memory now and wants to get a painkiller for his hip pain. That he got after having a fall in Ranchi. The doctor calls it a unique case, Bipin Chaudhury's lapse of memory. So the doctor calls that a unique case. So that the doctor was also surprised. He found this to be a unique case. Okay, now the lesson, okay? Every Monday on his way back from work, Bipin Chaudhury would drop in at Kali Charan's New Market. Kali Charan is a bookstall. It is a new market. And why would he stop there? Yes, to buy books. Crime stories, ghost stories and thrillers. These are the types of books that who would buy? Yes, Bipin Chaudhury would buy. He had to buy at least 5 at a time to last him through the week. So 5 books he would complete reading in 1 week. He lived alone and was not a good mixer. He would not mix up with people, He had few friends, very few friends, and didn't like spending time in idle chat, gossiping, So today at Kali Charan's Bepin Babu had the feeling that someone was observing him from close quarters. Bepin Babu felt what? That someone was observing him. He turned round and found himself looking at a round-faced, meek, a shy-looking man, and who now broke into a smile. Meek means shy. I don't suppose you recognize me. That's what he said. Thrillers, a novel, play or film with an exciting plot, typically involving crime or espionage. Close quarters, very near to a person or thing. Idle chat, unnecessary, routine conversation, meek, quiet, humble. It was a routine for Bepin Chaudhury to stop at Kalicharan's in New Market to buy books every Monday. So it was his habit. He would do that every Monday when he was on his way home from work. So every Monday he would do that. He usually bought crime stories. These are the types of books he would purchase. He bought at least 5 books. Yes, for a week. He lived alone and did not have many friends. He did not like mixing with people. He was not sociable. He was not very much interested, in spending time gossiping, idle talks. On that particular day, Bepin Babu felt as if someone was looking at him continuously from a close distance. So he turned round to find who it was. He saw a round-faced gentleman, humble-looking man, staring at him. On seeing him, Bepin Babu made eye contact. That is, he looked at him. The man started smiling and exclaimed that he did not expect Bepin Babu to identify him. And really was not able to identify. See, look at the picture there. Have we met before? Asked Bepin Babu. The man looked greatly surprised. We met every day for a whole week. Oh my God, that's what he told him. I arranged for a car to take you to the Chaudhury Falls in 1958 in Ranchi. Yeah, so I was the one who arranged for a car to take you to Chaudhury Falls. That is what the stranger told Bepin Babu. My name is Parimal Ghosh. Ranchi? Now Bepin Babu realized that it was not he, but this man who was making a mistake. Bepin Babu was very sure that he had not been to Ranchi. He had been at the point of going several times but never made it. He smiled and said, "Do you know who I am?" Bepin Babu asked the man if they had met before. The man had a surprised expression on his face. Of course they had met, because he was the one who had arranged for a car to visit the Chaudhury Falls. Yeah, he called himself Parimal Ghosh. Yeah. On hearing Ranchi, Bepin Babu realized that it was not him, but perhaps that man was mistaken. So even though he wanted to visit Ranchi, he had been at the point of going there multiple times, but somehow he could not. Thus, with a gentle smile, he asked the man, Parimal, if he really knew who he was. So the man raised his eyebrows, bit his tongue and said, "Yes, of course I know who you are," because he knew him. Yeah. So, do I know you? Who doesn't? So he asked him, "Do I know you?" Then he said, "Yes, who doesn't know you?" Bepin Babu now turned towards the bookshelves and said, "Still you're making a mistake. One often does. Yeah, it's quite likely to happen. I have never been to Ranchi." So that was the reply of Bepin Babu. On hearing Bepin Babu's reply, the man started biting his tongue. He raised his eyebrows. He was wondering why this man cannot recognize me. Yeah. He further added that he wondered if there is anyone who does not know Bepin Chaudhury. So, as he turned back towards the bookshelf, Bepin Babu told him that he was making a mistake. Perhaps he was mistaken. Sometimes it happens. Sometimes one is confused. Yeah. So he exclaims that he had never been to Ranchi. The man now laughed aloud. What are you saying, Mr. Chaudhury? You had a fall in Chaudhury. You had cut your right knee. I brought you iodine. I had fixed up a car for you to go to Netarhat the next day, but you couldn't because of the pain in the knee. Can't you recall anything? Don't you remember anything? That's what he asked him. Someone else was also in Ranchi at that time, Mr. Dinesh Mukherjee. You stayed in a bungalow. You said you didn't like hotel food and would prefer to have your meals cooked by a bawarchi. Bawarchi means chef. One who cooks food is called bawarchi or chef. Mr. Mukherjee stayed with his sister. You had a big argument about the moon landing. Remember? I'll tell you more. You always carried a bag with your books in it on your right seeing trips. Am I right or not? Bawarchi means cook. The man laughed at Bepin Babu's response. He further elaborates how Bepin had a fall in Chaudhury and that he had cut his knee. He even mentioned that he arranged for a car, to go to Netarhat the next day, and that he had a knee pain. Because of that, he could not make it. He goes on, gives more details about their trip. He tells Bepin Babu that he had come with one of his acquaintances, Mr. Dinesh Mukherjee, who stayed someone whom he knew. On the other hand, Bepin Babu stayed in a bungalow because he preferred having his meals prepared by a cook instead of having hotel food. He further mentions in the argument Bepin Chaudhury had about moon landing. He asks if Bepin Babu recalls anything and goes on to elaborate how he always carried a bag of books on his right. He again asked Bepin Babu if the details he gave are apt. Apt means correct. Bepin Babu spoke quietly, his eyes still on the books. Which month in 58 are you talking about? The man said October. No, sir, said Bepin Babu. I spent puja in 58 with a friend in Kanpur. Then Bepin Babu said, no, I was not there in October. I was in Kanpur at that time, spending puja with a friend. Good day, but the man didn't go, nor did he stop talking. Spoke quietly, speaking in a very calm and even tone. So amazed by the precision of the details the man gave, Bepin Babu was amazed, surprised at the details given by that man and how precise the details were. Bepin Babu asks him in a calm and even tone about the particular month. He says, of course, October. Then Bepin Babu said, no, in October I was not there. I was in Kanpur. So he assures the man that is mistaken and wishes him a good day. Very strange. One evening I had tea with you in a veranda of your bungalow. You spoke about your family. You said you had no children and that you had lost your wife 10 years ago. Your only brother had died insane. Insane means he had become mad, which is why you didn't want to visit the mental hospital in Ranchi. The man goes on to mention how unusual this is because he even remembered having tea with Bepin Babu and that Bepin Babu had given complete details about his family and that he had no children. He even adds that Bepin Babu told him that he lost his wife 10 years ago and his only brother died in a mental hospital in Ranchi, and that's the reason he did not want to visit the mental hospital in Ranchi. So this was told by Bepin Babu to that stranger. See here, children, Bipin Babu is not able to recall that he visited Hudru Falls and all that he had a fall, had injured his knee. Yes, children. Yes, so what are you supposed to do? Read this much, read the lesson. Yes, as much as I taught you, go through the difficult words, meanings, write down in your notebooks. Bye, children. Have a nice day. We'll continue in our next session. Thank you.